This episode of Horror Movie Talk is brought to you by Help. You need somebody. Help. Not just anybody. Help. You know you need someone. Help! Or Horror-Endorsed Language Protocol is here to give you the appropriate exclamation or excited utterance that you need in those times of extreme duress. Sometimes not just any will do. The next time you have a psychopathic serial killer after you, call Help and give a detailed explanation of your situation, and Horror-Endorsed Language Protocol will determine which terrified yelp will be the right one to use. Some of our favorites include Eee! Oh my God! No! And of course, fuck! Help. We can help. Go to www.help.help and enter HMT at checkout to receive your first excited utterance suggestion for free.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
Let's go through the scraggly woods.
He had no face!
Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey guys, hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. We are, of course, your hosts, the wonderful and just bosomy Bryce, who is just my little cup of tea every day, and I love him so much. That's him over there.
Aw, shucks.
Bryce Hansen. He holds a PhD in spookology, and me, Professor David Day, the foremost expert in scare no-nos. I got a little mushy mouth today. Foremost expert in scare meow-meows. So today, I'm very excited for this episode, Bryce. I'm very excited for a number of reasons, one of which is we're reviewing Scream. But first, you guys should check out our website, horrormovietalk.com.
It's .com.
And from there, you can find links to all of our social media. We, of course, post new episodes, new podcasts every single Wednesday. So make sure you subscribe and leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts because that helps us out just a ton. And you guys have been doing it and we love you for it. We got to hit that 200 mark. Also going for 1,000 followers on Facebook. So if you guys can follow us on Facebook, we'll love you forever and kiss your feet with our dirty, dirty mouths.
Where are we on followers on Facebook? Have you checked?
I don't even really want to say it. They're going to have, if they want to know how many followers we have on Facebook, they can go and look. We're a podcast, all right?
Right.
We're not a Facebook.
We're
idiot.
We're at 130 ratings on Apple Podcasts,
yeah.
So we need 70 more.
70 more, and then we get to be on the rottenest of tomatoes. Today, we will be talking about Scream. That's right, the 1996 Wes Craven classic. And we will start out the show by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge where it makes you angry you had to watch it, 5 being an average enough film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being so good that it transcends genre boundaries. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. Later in this episode, we'll be doing a few bits we haven't done in a little bit. What's going on here? We'll be doing taglines. Remember that one?
Uh-huh.
You remember that?
Yeah, I forgot about it.
Remember? And then
that's
also,
why I'm furiously scribbling right now.
This one's a pretty easy one to write taglines for,
Yeah.
I found. And then also, we will be doing... taglines is a bit where we come up with alternate taglines that are funny, stupid, or embarrassing for us to read out loud to you. And then the other game we'll be doing is called Killcount, where we pit two movies against each other to see which one has the higher kill count. And Bryce will have to guess, and he'll probably win because he's pretty good at kill count. So, as I said, Scream is the horror movie of the 90s in every way that you can imagine. More than that, it's a meta take on the genre of slashers. So let's get into the trailer.
Hello?
Hello?
Who is this?
You tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
I don't think so.
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
You making popcorn?
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
Someone is playing a deadly game.
It all began with a scream over 911.
Someone who's seen one too many scary movies. Now he's taken his love of fear.
Hello?
Hello, Sydney.
One step too far.
Do you like scary movies?
What's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a scary movie. Number 1, you can never have sex.
It's me.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back. Get another beer, you want one? Yeah, sure. I'll be right back.
He didn't make the rules.
The police are always on track. If they watch prom night, they save time.
He just kills by them. Don't answer the phone. Don't open the door. Don't try to hide.
Everybody, the nuts back!
Not scared, are you?
Scream.
Yay!
I watched Scream on Amazon. I bought it for a couple bucks because every time Amazon's like, hey, you can watch it on Tubi for free. And first of all, I'm like, Tubi, that sounds fat.
I think it's pronounced Tubi.
I don't give a shit.
Like a television tube.
Looks like Tubi. It's like, yeah, you can watch this on Tubi for free. And I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah, you watch it on Tubi, you fat piece of shit.
And then, so I bought it or rented it on Amazon. And you guys can do the same if you go to our website. You can click through the banner at the top of the website. It says buy stuff on Amazon. And then when you rent it on Amazon, so that you avoid all those Tubi commercials, we get a little piece of that. So you'll be helping us out too. But you can also watch it for free on Tubi. Scream is the story of a bunch of 20-somethings that haven't managed to graduate high school yet. And their quiet town. And their quiet town of Woodsboro that has a serial killer problem and its fair share of quirky characters.
What is it about the 90s that was particularly bad about making 20-year-olds look like teenagers?
Yeah.
Like, they still do that now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like there's a lot of 18-year-olds playing seniors in high school, but they seem to be cast better or...
Yeah, like Ellen Page or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, she's 16, and then you learn she's 26.
Or maybe it's like the hairstyle looks dated, so they seem older to us, but no, I mean, they looked really, definitely like 20-year-olds.
My wife said this halfway through the movie. It's such a great movie. We were sitting there.
It was confusing because it took me a while to realize that the school was a high school and not a college. Because it felt like a college campus. Even how they introduced it.
I know.
It's like everyone's out on the lawn.
But then there's lockers, and you're like,
yeah.
What are lockers doing in college? And she goes, I don't know what it is about the 90s, but it's the most... They always cast 27-year-olds to play 16-year-olds.
Right.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, even now, the people that seem more 16-year-old or seem more they are better cast in high school movies. If you step back, you're like, well, wait a minute. No, that's not right. Because that guy's ripped.
Yeah.
You know, he's like some guy is like definitely a man.
Yeah.
And some girl is like, yeah.
Chesty LaRue with big fakies.
There'd be like a real, like a shock of reality if you showed real teenagers, because teenagers look awkward as fuck.
Some of them do. I know all the ones I hung out with did.
Right.
I certainly, me included. Our main girl, Sydney, whose mother was murdered a year ago, loses a friend to a horrific double homicide and quickly becomes the focus of the deranged and seemingly horror movie obsessed killer. As the killer cuts a swath of killings through the town, the very old teens begin to realize that they are dealing with someone
the geriatric teenagers. All right. Wow. You are hyped up on Red Bull right now.
He's hopped up on goofballs. The very old teens begin to realize that they are dealing with someone who strictly follows the rules of slasher flicks. And they end up with more death than they bargained for.
The French.
The French. So here's the deal. Scream is directed by Wes Craven, and it sports an impressively, like an impressive lineup of stars. Just star after star after star, and even the ones who aren't stars, like Matthew Lillard, are kind of really so recognizable that it's just, you go, oh, that's Jamie Kennedy. Oh, that's Drew Barrymore. Oh, that's Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Nev Campbell. Like,
yeah, and how much of that is
Henry Winkler? How
much of that is because of this movie, though? I honestly don't remember what their careers were like.
I mean, obviously
before this movie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Drew Barrymore, child actress, but. I think Nev Campbell had, a decent career before this.
Courtney Cox was definitely known from Friends.
She was already in Friends, and David Arquette, and Henry Winkler. Winkler, David Arquette had already. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, his family is Hollywood. His whole family's Hollywood, so surely he's something.
Yeah, well researched over here at Horror Movie Talk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, I think I did a good job of defending my point. It sports an impressively sexy and notable cast. Scream defined and poked fun at horror movies for the casual movie-going audience. It was one of the most easily accessible horror movies of my generation, being mainstream enough that parents all around the world wanted to watch it, which meant kids got to watch it too. While it was accessible, it was also shocking and legitimately disturbing because it focused on uncontrollable teens as the killers, old teens as the killers. And who doesn't find teenagers scary? I see them walking down the street and I just recoil.
It felt really realistic and visceral, like more so than a regular slasher.
Right.
Is the thing.
Because it's centered in reality. It's
right.
It's like psycho. It's not.
It's saying that this is not within the world of slashers, which has its own literal rules, like they talk about in this movie. This is the real world, and we're talking about those.
Right.
So it makes it feel realer.
Yeah.
Sometimes it betrays it because it's a little too meta at times. It's like, all right, calm down with the movie references, but overall it's a really great movie. I think, like, as I was watching this, when I originally saw it, I was not very well versed with slashers at all. It's just not really a genre that I watched. And now that I've seen, all the big ones, watch this and I'm like, this is the best slasher.
This is the penultimate. Yeah.
That I've ever seen.
Ever. The start is so strong.
Right. It feels like legitimate danger. I don't know why it feels more real. Cause like in regular slashers, you've got like this element of supernatural ability,
goofballery,
goofiness. It's got the teenagers and they're having fun, and it's like basically just a setup for kills and nothing else. And this one has like a decent story.
Yeah.
Like enough character development to make it seem like an actual movie.
Yeah.
And the kills feel very realistic.
Yeah, it's very scrambly.
Yeah, and even like the supernatural aspects of it, where you're like, well, he couldn't get there that quickly.
Right.
Like, it still feels a little more real for some reason.
Not
and
only
at the
does
end,
it-
it's explained.
Yeah, not only does it feel more real, it feels a little bit, like you said, how did he get there so quick? Yeah, there's a perfectly legitimate reason behind it.
Right.
That gets explained towards the end.
And spoilers.
Yeah. Not to mention that Scream was released in 1996, a mere 3 years before the Columbine school shooting, which allowed it to edge out reality by just inches.
Right.
It came right in under that radar because you couldn't probably make a movie about that kind of thing anymore so much.
Yeah. Columbine is like the one that is most well known, but there was one like a year or two before in Oregon.
Yeah, down in Eugene.
With Kip Kinkle.
Yeah, Kip Kinkle, that's right. Yeah, unpleasant stuff.
But it wasn't anywhere. Yeah.
I gave it. I had this written down, but I think just upon kind of talking it over with you, I think you're right. I'm going to bump it up to a 9 out of 10. This is a very, very good movie. That's corny,
right?
And it's hard for me to take super seriously. But in terms of slashers, I think you're right. I think this is the best slasher maybe ever made. And Wes Craven is the king of meta. Like all he does is just meta. So.
Right. I think. Yeah, I'm having kind of a hard decision between 10 and 9 because it is one of the best horror movies. But for me, like a couple things bring it down a notch where it's like, so the two times that it kind of ruins the meta-ness or it goes overboard is like when
spoilers,
when Skeet Ulrich is talking to Nev Campbell and he's like we started out and our relationship was rated R, going on NC-17, but now we're made for TV. Or it's like, dude, Jesus Christ. All right, I get it.
But when I was 11 years old or 12 years old, that was the fucking coolest line in the whole movie. Like, I was like, damn. Like, that's deep for 14.
Right.
I'm 14 and this is deep.
Right. It's if they had left that out and then there was
I love that part.
There was another part where just some of it's like one too many movie references or like, hey, it's like that. It's like, okay. Like when you're among teenagers, you're not going to talk like that. But in terms of
fellow
like
kids,
right. But in terms of like when they're sitting around watching movies and they're talking about them, like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or when they're talking about like, how would you survive? Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
And that works. But the stuff where it's like, regular conversation, non sequitur. Now we're talking about horror movies for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like, so that like takes it down a peg for me, but I'm going to be generous and just say 10 because I mean, I
haven't seen a slasher this good.
There are so many amazing sequences in this movie.
Yeah.
Even the corny ones are great.
Yeah.
Like,
and the chemistry between all the actors and actresses feels like there was some fucking going on, It's like when
except for Jamie Kennedy,
right? Oh, poor Jamie Kennedy. But I mean, and like especially between David Arquette and Courtney Cox.
Yeah.
I think they got married after this, or something they might. Like that, because she became Courtney Cox Arquette.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. For a while there.
I think. What was I going to say? I think the opening scene for this movie is probably one of the best openings of any movies ever.
We'll get into it in spoilers for sure.
I mean, everyone knows what the opening screen is.
No, we can't do that.
And then the reveal at the end is great.
Oh, it blew me away. I don't know why. It's kind of obvious, but it's at the same time, there's a lot of red herrings.
I remembered half of the ending, and then the other half was like, I can't remember who that is. And so even as I was watching, I was like, is it this person or that person?
Really? You didn't remember? Man, this must have been a long time for you.
Yeah, it's been a while. I probably haven't seen this since
25 years.
2000, 1997 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this is one of those ones that I watched and just was like so amazed by. And it's light enough that, that anyone can kind of, it's a gateway drug kind of. This is not, Martyrs or something terrified.
Right. But for the initiated, there's some real intense gore. It's one of those where it's like, it takes the act of stabbing someone and makes it
really
way
visceral.
more real than any other movie that I can think of that involves stabbing,
Yeah. There's a lot of focus on the knife in this one. So with that, let's haunt. You guys, I just would like to remind you that Horror Movie Talk reviews new horror movies normally when they're coming out. We're just happen to have a shortage of those right now. But that doesn't mean that you should ignore your local theaters. Our favorite theaters are the small privately owned ones in our community. And during this Corona shutdown, all of these theaters are in serious jeopardy. So Horror Movie Talk has decided to help the only way we know how, which is to feature them in our podcast. I'd just like to say, head to your local theater, tell them Horror Movie Talk sent you, buy some
gift cards or popcorn if they're selling it.
If they're selling it on the sidewalk. Our local theater, the Kiggins, sells popcorn on the sidewalk, every Friday or something like that. So, make sure you head out there and support them so that they'll be around when this whole thing is over. Now, if you guys want to, this is a free show. And we do it out of the love for you and horror movies. And we'd also like to hear ourselves talk. But beyond that, if you'd like to help support the show, you can do so directly by going to our Patreon page at patreon.com/horror movie talk.
Man, I'm gassy today.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Is it Horror Movie Talk or is it /horror movie talk or Horror Movie Talk podcast?
Horror Movie Talk.
Horror Movie Talk. Head on over there. You can select from all kinds of different tiers. The most popular stuff on there is access to a whole nother podcast that is exclusive to a certain tier and above of Patreon member. And that's called the Afterpod, where we just leave the mics rolling and talk about, what happened in our week and, just bitch about our wives and all kinds of stuff.
Hi, Carrie. How's it going?
Hey, sweetie. How you doing? And this week I'd like to thank, we have 3 new Patreon members. Hooray! We got Angelica, who I assume is a man, Elena B., who is also probably a man, and Kyle S., and that must be a woman, I assume.
Yeah, so
not too sure.
Elena joined, and she pointed out that we misgendered her when we mentioned her on the last episode. She was the Evie something on Reddit, and she's like, I'm actually a woman.
We managed to,
and it's really like a rite of passage at this point.
Yeah, at this point, it's just our thing. We just misgender people, and it's not intentional. It's just whatever our gut instinct is always wrong.
Yeah. So thank you to those beautiful people that joined our Patreon. And, they're going to enjoy the perks they get, so check out what you can get if you join. Also, we've got Shudder.com. We have a offer for anyone that wants to check them out. We have a 30-day free trial if you use the code HMT at checkout. So if you're planning on getting that, might as well get 30 days instead of the shitty 7-day free trial.
And by the way, just, Shudder does keep track of whether or not you guys actually end up paying, and it'd be nice if they converted into like a full-blown sponsor. So just consider tossing them a couple bucks. I'm just saying, just consider it.
Sure. I don't really care that much.
You can also support the podcast by buying or renting any product or movie or anything on Amazon. If, like I said before, if you go to our website, horrormovietalk.com. Click the green button in the header of our website, and then we get a little taste of every purchase you make. And I know you're making a lot of them, and I know you're not doing the thing that I just told you to do. So maybe start doing
All
that.
right, we're sounding a little greedy now.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. God damn it.
Thanks to Dustin Goebel.
Dustin?
He's a professional artist who fucks hard. He also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. Hey. Contact him at dgoebel00 on Instagram. That's DGOEBEL00 on Instagram. Make your artistic dreams come true. He is the creative source behind our logo and all of our posts. Featured images, which are all fantastic, and we love Dustin.
What a lovely, lovely human being.
Yeah. And great to work with. Like, the process of going over that logo design
needs no instruction. And he's just intuitive.
He's gets on it.
Yeah. He's got an eye for art and horror.
And also, like, he knows
he knows funny too.
Yeah, he knows funny, and he knows when to let you just argue amongst yourselves. Yeah. Which we did with the font.
Quite a bit.
Thanks again to Maxwell R. Allen on Instagram for our intro music and doing some music for us throughout. Thanks again for listening, and let's get into spoilers.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
Shit. Just a second. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
We should change the theme song just to a foghorn. Like a spoilers. Because that fits, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to think about that.
Spoilers.
Anyways.
So did you know Drew Barrymore and Matt Lillard were in Mad Love together?
Really?
It's true. Carrie said that at the start of this movie.
Well, that kind of makes sense. Drew, I'm going to be mean right now, even though I love Drew Barrymore.
Oh, no.
She ain't too smart. No.
What? You're just stopping right there, huh?
Did you see her interview on the Norm Macdonald show on Netflix?
I think so, yes.
She bless her heart, is what the people in the South would say.
Fuck you. Wow.
Norm was like making some jokes. He's like, I don't get it. He's like, yeah, it's all right. But she's a beautiful soul and a beautiful woman.
That's all that matters.
I'll tell you what, I even wrote this down. Now that I've shit on Drew Barrymore, I'm sorry, Drew, if you're listening.
That's hot.
I had a huge crush on Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Like, there was a moment in my childhood in the 56K modem dial-up era that I found Drew Barrymore's Playboy shoot on some website.
Oh, my God.
That I still see it in my head right now. I know exactly what those images look like because I looked at them so much.
Okay, pervert.
All right. Well, I'm just saying. This is an important part in little Bryce Hanson's life.
Dude, yeah, Drew Barrymore.
And little Bryce Hanson, I'm not talking about the young me.
The phone call start to this with Drew Barrymore, best start of any movie ever. Best movie start.
Man, it is played so well. It's so perfect because you feel the menace instantly, but you also feel like this is kind of believable. Like they're having a little banter, wrong call banter, you know?
Yeah.
And then it turns south like in an instant. And you're like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. It's like, don't hang up that phone, you fucking bitch. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. And just that her death just feels so visceral. Yeah. It's like, geez, it feels real.
It really escalates into quite a panic.
It's so simple. Yeah. It's like, it's not like what usually happens in slashers is chick runs away and she's like, blah, 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 blah. A couple turns, like they realize the killer's right there. He's chasing him. But when the kill happens, it's like a surprise. It's like jump out, stab.
Yeah. And then this
one is like she's running. He like stabs her once and she's still
nicks her again.
Yeah.
Keeps kind of slashing at her. And and then she dies like right next to her parents as they're entering the house.
Right.
But like we need to go a little bit further into this. Like, tell me your name because I want to know who I'm looking at.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
sends chills down my goddamn spine. That's such a menacing, horrifically evil thing to say.
That's
to
like
someone.
as iconic as I don't even think that's like necessarily new, but the delivery of that is perfect, and it's as iconic as the calls coming from inside the house.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh, yes.
Just that idea of like, oh shit.
Yeah, and you know, he makes her do like horror movie trivia, you know, on the call. And that's great. And they kind of intentionally bag on Nightmare on Elm Street, which is, of course, Wes Craven. He's like, the first one was good, but all the rest are kind of fucking garbage. It's like, okay. And then he's like, look in your backyard. And she turns on the light, and there's her boyfriend, like tied to a lawn chair
and bloodied, and he's gotten the shit beat out of him already.
She turns the lights off. She turns them back on a couple minutes later, and he's just completely eviscerated.
Yeah, like literally eviscerated.
Yeah,
like his intestines are hanging out.
Yeah, and then she gets inevitably one of the questions wrong. Who's the killer in Friday the 13th? She says, Jason, I know this one. Jason. Spoilers. It's not Jason in the original Friday the 13th.
I mean, this is kind of not fair because Jason, well, I guess he didn't kill her at the end, did he?
No,
but in the movie, like, you don't learn that until, oh wait, no, she does wake up at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it was a dream. Or was it? I'm about ready to take my shirt off in here. It's kind of hot.
Jesus. Please don't.
Really? Is that bad?
I just don't like looking at your tits. I'm sorry.
Well, okay. I'm a little offended. So anyway.
You can if it makes you feel comfortable.
Oh, that's nice. So then he asks her a question on the phone. He's like, which door am I at? She's like, what? What do you mean? He's like, which door? There's two doors, the front door and the back door. Which door are you, am I at? You got to answer it or else I'm going to kill you. And then before she can answer, Bryce, he throws a chair through the back door. So I'd have just been like, you're at the back door. And then he'd be like, shit. We did it in the wrong order. And then, getting off scot-free. So whenever I see, and this scene spawned a question. So I have a question for you because I had to ask this to Carrie when we were watching it. But there's a switch off. You paying attention?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my notes up. Like,
okay.
Not showing up for some reason.
There's a switch that happens in this initial scene. So there's the part where he's on the phone with her, talking to her, baiting her, being menacing over the phone. And that's really terrifying to me. But as soon as you see him, the switch flips and it becomes instantly slightly less scary to me. I'm like,
really?
Oh, there he is. There's a man.
Well, yeah, and it also uses this idea of she sees him and he can't see her for a little bit.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Right.
And, because you see him like lurking around the house, which is kind of great because it's like, well, it's still scary, but it's taken the edge off because he can't see her.
It's a little tension release.
Yeah. And also makes it feel really real. And then once he's chasing after her with the knife, then it ramps it up again. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's not going to get away.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. There's something about seeing the thing that kind of ruins the scariness of it for me. And that just seems to be a hard rule.
Right. I think one of the things a couple things while watching this movie makes you realize how dated it is. Mm-hmm. You're like, well, wait a minute. That's a landline. Who has a landline anymore?
Cordless phone.
Yeah, cordless phone.
Oh yeah, there's another part.
And then there's like
son, what are you doing out here with a cellular telephone?
No one has cellular telephones. Or no, the guy's like, everyone has cellular telephones now.
Everybody's got them.
Everybody.
That's a fucking lie. It's 1996. I remember when my dad got one in like 95 for his business, for like keeping in the trucks.
Right.
And it'd be like, I'd go in there and be like, I bet I could call a 900 number on this.
Oh, Jesus. It's like $150 a minute normally on it back then. Yeah, it's such a great scene. The other thing about that scene is there's just something about intestines that just do it for me. Like, it's literally just the most visceral thing you can see, because it can be done convincingly in a horror movie. You can actually look like intestines are falling out.
Uh-huh.
Like, you couldn't do like a really convincing like heart showing on screen. You'd be like, oh, that's makeup. Look, it's not concave. They just put it on top of his chest.
I got to tell you, Bryce, I'm really happy you brought up intestines, because I got a little surprise for you.
Okay.
This is a good segue.
All right. I'm excited. Oh, block drain.
Bryce.
Block drain.
I'm so excited that you brought up Drain Addict.
I didn't technically bring him up.
You brought up intestines, and
intestines contain poop, and poop goes in toilets, and toilets go into pipes, and pipes get clogged.
Pipes get clogged, and who unclogs the pipes?
The Drain Addict.
The Drain Addict. You guys, we talked about Drain Addict on last episode. This is a YouTube channel that we are both obsessed with. It's just an Australian man named Ollie who
and his loyal sidekick, Ratty.
And his loyal sidekick.
There's Ratty. Morning, Ratty.
Morning, Ratty.
Morning, Ratty.
And he finds
blocked drain.
He finds blocked drains. And and then what does he do with them?
And there's a blockage.
Oh, like a big sausage.
It is. It's like a big sausage of shit.
and he's great because he's got so many memes that he just intentionally created himself.
We're just going off the rails already.
I'm obsessed with
He's
this
obsessed
channel.
with this.
I have to.
A couple people have watched Drain Addict since we mentioned it last episode.
A bunch of people got back to us.
And they're like, Jesus Christ, why did I do that? And you're like, because you want to live?
Yeah.
Like, you remind yourself
that
what it feels like to be alive.
Right. Yeah. And he does all these great things. I need to interview. Yeah. I need to interview him.
This is David's goal. He needs to, for horror movie talk.
Yeah.
The most important thing for us to do is interview a
plumber from Australia.
Very, very, very minor YouTube celebrity.
Whoa. Hey, can you not offend Ollie, please?
I mean, we're not a minor YouTube celebrity. That's high praise coming from me.
Touche. That is true. But I always like
I like to see the arms.
I always like to see the arms.
And
what else? What are you thinking? Maybe I like to see how
I know you got like two more.
I like to see how thick it is.
We'll give you some sort of an idea how thick it is. It's pretty thick.
How thick is it?
I mean,
pretty thick.
It's pretty thick.
I mean, you really, if you think it's great listening to it, you really got to see the images accompanying that sound.
There's just poop like clogging these long drains, and he just blasts it out of there, and he gets covered in it. He gets covered in poop.
Well, he doesn't get covered in it, but he definitely gets backsplash.
But there's always a bunch of kookaburras.
This is just
the ambiance is the best part.
Did you get corn?
Oh, I didn't.
You didn't get corn.
I didn't get corn.
That's like the most important meme.
I know. Well, I mean,
here's some corn for you, Ratty.
Here's corn, Ratty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jesus Christ. They love the arms. All right, let's move on, David.
Oh, but okay. So anyway, if you guys go give Drain Addict on YouTube, give him your views, write him a message, say Horror Movie Talk sent me here. We need to get Ollie on the show. I need to get this shit wizard on the show.
Right.
I love him, and oh man, I just love Ratty.
There's Ratty.
There's Ratty.
Morning, Ratty.
Morning, Ratty. Okay, so Bryce is thoroughly done with Drain Addict. So back to boring old scary, or what's it called? Scream.
I'm glad you got the drops. That's important.
Yeah, it is, because you know how pretty thick. How thick is it? Pretty thick.
Block drain.
Oh man. So one thing that doesn't work for me about Scream is how generic the killer costume is. It is generic. And I know that's supposed to, it's supposed to be, he represents every slasher movie ever. Mm-hmm. So there's a mask, there's ghost face is what he ends up being called. And I mean, it works really well for marketing reasons and, toys and masks and Halloween. I mean, shit.
Because did that mask exist before this movie?
I really don't think so.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's iconic. Obviously, instantly where that mask is from this movie.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not iconic. It's just also very generic. Like,
I mean, I think
the smiley face is iconic, but I'm not like excited by it. It's not cool.
No, I mean, I think it adds to it because it's just a Halloween costume.
Okay.
Like the killer, it's not like some artificial, like, hey, this man wears a mask all the time for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's not like, hey, he wears a hockey mask for some reason.
Yeah. Why does
And it's not like, hey, his face is fucked up. Why? Because we had to. Right. Like, there's got to be something wrong with his face. And then this is just like, kid went out and bought a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
And it looks like that.
Yeah.
And it makes it real, and to me, it makes it scarier because it's not supernatural. It's just a guy underneath this, anonymity.
Yeah, no, I get it. It just, I guess it continues to boil down to, as soon as I see it, it's less scary. As soon as I see anything, it's
sure,
it's a little less scary to me. It's because, right. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. There's just so many people in this. Jamie Kennedy is like the unsung hero of this movie, and I bet a lot of people don't even remember that he's in it.
I didn't recognize him until I saw his name in the credits.
What?
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that's Jamie Kennedy.
Oh, like man.
It did not register for me because I was never a Jamie Kennedy fan. I thought he was kind of.
I think everybody thought he was kind of a spaz.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, he...
Remember the Jamie Kennedy Experience?
Yes, of course I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Poor Jamie Kennedy.
I don't feel that bad. I think didn't he like date some really juicy hotties? I can't remember who he dated. But
I think you're thinking of David Spade.
No. I don't know. Maybe they thought he was David Spade.
Oh, well, that would definitely work in his favor. And I can see why they would think that.
Yeah.
Both kind of small, blonde, lock drain. This,
they love the arms.
This is like the most 90s feeling movie I don't think, can you think of a more 90s feeling movie than this?
I mean, yeah, there's more 90s. Are you talking about horror movies specifically?
No, I'm talking about just maybe Cool World.
Yeah, cool world. I mean, there's plenty of 90s movies that couldn't exist anywhere else except the 90s.
Johnny Mnemonic.
Like,
digging deep.
Cool Runnings.
Joanna Man. Cool Runnings.
I don't know. Just, yeah.
Anything with Martin Short. I don't know. But, yeah, it feels like this movie feels kind of like like the horror version of Friends, kind of. I guess maybe that's just because of Courtney Cox, but anyway. So it's kind of a big deal that they killed Drew Barrymore in basically the first 10 minutes of this movie.
Okay, this is why. I was looking up who Jamie Kennedy dated. He dated Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Wow, pulling it down.
Right?
Yeah, they call it pulling down because it's way above you. Especially in that case. I mean, no, that's definitely rude to Jamie Kennedy. I'm sorry, Jamie.
I'm sorry, Jamie.
Man, we're
sorry, Drew and Jamie.
Pissing off.
Next, we're going to shit on Matthew Lillard.
So Matthew Lillard is the most memorable no-name that you've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, he's so notable.
And he's the same way in almost every movie he's in. It's just totally over the top. I always really disliked him because I just don't like that
energy.
Yeah. Where it's like, all right, I get it. Someone needs to have that much energy, but I don't want to see it.
And it's kind of, it's not just the energy, because I feel like I have that amount of energy a lot of time, but it's the kind of goofy, I don't care about anything. I'm just free balling. It feels like he doesn't wear underwear.
Right.
Don't know what to.
Right. I don't know how to respond to that.
Well, but yeah, I mean, was he in 13 Ghosts as well?
Let's see. I don't know. He was in Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, he was Shaggy.
And I was thinking he was in Contact, but I don't think that's right. I think it was Jake Busey that was in Contact.
No, he was not in Contact. I don't know. Was Jake Busey in Contact?
Yeah, he was the terrorist that blows up the platform for the pod.
Wow.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all. Let's see. I got Matthew Lillard pulled up here. Let me tell you, that guy does not age. Matthew Lillard. So we got Scooby-Doo, obviously. Scooby-Doo 2, obviously. SLC Punk, right?
Okay. Yeah. I've never seen it.
Yeah, that's a big one. I've never seen it either, but let's go down towards... Oh, man, he's never been out of work. Hackers. He was in Hackers.
Oh, yeah. That is the most 90s movie. Yeah. I can't, legitimately, I can't think of a more 90s movie than Hackers. Honestly, that is so... It's obsessed with the internet and computers before we knew anything about them.
Yeah, it's just smashing hands on keyboards.
And it's like, we don't know what hacking actually looks like, so let's put Pac-Man in there.
This is a Linux system. I know this. Yeah, no, he was in 13 Ghosts. He, and then almost immediately after that, he went on and did Scooby-Doo. And then everything's just kind of downhill from there.
Anyways, I've never been a huge Matthew Lillard fan, but I understand his place in history.
Well, his place in history is Shaggy and this character.
Right.
This is definitely his high point, I think.
Right. Let's talk about Skeet Ulrich.
Let's.
Skeet Ulrich is my ultimate example, and this is my friend Kevin's first example of the poor man's actor. It's the best example of, we can't get this actor, but we could probably afford him.
I see where you're going with this.
Skeet Ulrich is the poor man's Johnny Depp.
Yes.
To a T.
Yeah.
If you watch this and you don't think of Johnny Depp at least 4 times.
He's got those soulless shark eyes. It's kind of stare past you.
Kind of got the mumbly, baby face energy.
Yeah, the greasy wisp hair that kind of like dangles in front of his eyes.
He's been the poor man's Johnny Depp for like most of his career.
See, I'm not familiar with anything else he's ever done. And he's an example of someone like Matthew Lillard, I feel like, because Carrie talked about him. My wife talked about him like he was somebody. And I was like, he's this guy. Like, he's never been in anything else, surely.
Right. No, he's been in other stuff.
Really?
But not anything super notable.
I'll be darned. So and in everything he does, he's like the budget Johnny Depp. Mm-hmm. He's like the guy they get to. So he must get some leading roles then, like this.
Yeah, and kind of second tier movies.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna look him up real quick. So,
do you think Skeet's short for Skeeter? I hope so.
Okay, so
or maybe it's short for Skeet Skeet.
Yeah, maybe it is short for Skeet Skeet. Yeah, man, what a name to ditch your kid with. Yeah, what should we call him? I'm thinking Skeet. What? And then the second person had to sign off on it?
As in, I should have skeeted on your chest instead of have this baby now?
Now I'm going to remember it. I'm going to remember it for next time because I have to call this one Skeet every time. Yeah, so he's in The Craft, Into the West, As Good as It Gets. Those are his notable ones on IMDb. Yeah. So, Chili Dogs. Kevin Manley and Chili Dogs from 2001.
Skeet Ulrich.
So, and then we got, so it's kind of a big deal that Drew Barrymore is killed off in the first 10 minutes of this movie. She's arguably the biggest actress or star in the whole movie.
Yeah, she's killed off. It's very much a like Psycho moment where it's like, this is your lead actress.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's dead.
Yeah, oh, she's gone.
I mean, Psycho strung it on a little longer. This was literally in the first scene, but you expected from the trailers, like, oh, this is Drew Barrymore is going to be in this movie.
Yes. And I mean, this was at the peak of her, like, this was Drew Barrymore's, like, swan song years of her life.
Yeah, it was weird because it felt like Drew Barrymore was one of the older people in this movie because she's been around forever.
Yeah, she was in
E.T. You're like, oh man, she must be like 10 or 15 years older than everyone.
Nope.
Nope. She's 1 year older than Neve Campbell.
Wow. And Neve,
Courtney Cox is like 10 years older than them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I think Courtney Cox at that point was like 29 or something like that, around there. She's, whoa, almost dropped it. That's a pretty good catch. Yeah, the other thing about this, the 90s feel of this whole thing was everything is so nice. All the houses, the neighborhood, all the cars, like there's no adherence to reality at all. It's like this super Hollywood, I don't know.
That's pretty regular for any Hollywood movie, though. Unless it's two extremes. It's either like rich mansions or it's utter poverty.
Yeah.
In like the worst slums in the world.
I feel like I've gotten off the rails on this episode. I feel like I've lost the reins of it because
we got to start back up.
So here we go. Oh yeah, we got
to start it back up.
We got to, yeah. There it is. So, once Drew Barrymore is killed off, then the killers switch their sights onto Neve Campbell, and Neve is, she's been harassed by the death of her mother from a year ago, and
it's very, very much she's established as the final girl very early on. Like, you get it.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
And so they start harassing her, the killer. What am I saying they for? What's that about? The killer.
Spoiler, there's two killers.
Yeah. So, and her boyfriend, Skeet is quoted as saying the funniest line in this whole movie to her. He goes, "You haven't been the same since your mother died. What's up with that?" And I was just like fucking dying.
Oh, his character's name's Billy Loomis. That's interesting.
Billy?
Yeah, Billy Loomis.
That's
like
Skeet?
Dr. Loomis from
Oh,
Halloween.
yeah. There's tons of references.
Yeah.
Like the janitor
Yeah.
is basically just Freddy Krueger.
Can I say that one of the best scenes in this movie was... oh, God damn it. I just blunked on his name. Blumpkined on his name.
Winkler?
God damn it. What's his name?
Henry Winkler?
Henry Winkler. Yeah.
Yeah.
That scene was great.
Yeah.
Henry Winkler has got
Chops.
just the best timing
Yeah.
of everything he's in. Is like, he's great.
Well, he's the Fonz.
He's the Fonz.
Yeah, he's the best.
But you're like, oh yeah, he's this, he was this character back in the 70s or 80s. And you're like, whatever. But no, like honestly, he's got some of the best comedic timing in anything that he's in.
I think he's held in like the top tiers of high regard in terms of just being a good person in Hollywood.
He's like one of the, you hear everyone talk about how he's the nicest person in Hollywood.
Yeah, like he's the best.
Like he'll call you and tell you how much he enjoyed your stuff.
Yeah.
And congratulate you for winning. Have you watched Barry at all?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, you got to watch Barry. He's great in that. He plays a drama teacher.
What is Barry? Is it a show?
Barry's a show. It's like created by Bill Hader and one of his friends. And the story is he's a hitman who discovers an acting class, and he doesn't like being a hitman, and he wants to get out of it. And he's like, maybe I can be an actor. And he like joins this acting class and kind of gets into it. But it's funny because it's Bill Hader. Like he's like the kind of the most unassuming
killer
guy, but he's like the slick hitman, and he's not. He's just like Bill Hader.
Yeah.
And then Henry Winkler is the drama teacher that's like just got the most massive ego and is basically like a cult leader of this
little
drama class.
Yeah.
And just very, very self-important.
I love it.
It's great. It's one of the best shows on TV right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's saying
it's
something.
great.
So, they have lots of references to, slashers. Somebody says this is starting to sound like some sort of Wes Carpenter flick or something.
Yeah.
There's Halloween is played basically towards the last 20 minutes of this movie in the background.
Wes Craven.
Yeah, but they say Wes Carpenter.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. I
thought they said Wes Craven.
This is starting to sound like some sort of Wes Carpenter flick or something. Jamie Kennedy is the movie nerd who explains to everyone the rules of the slasher.
There's lots of movie nerds in this movie. Like Matthew Willard's character, Jamie Kennedy, and Skeet.
Yeah, and Skeet Ulrich. And of course, the rules he lays down, these become iconic because I think this is like maybe the first time that it's like officially stated in pop culture what the rules of horror movies, or technically slashers, are. And he says you can't, if you want to make it through, you can't have sex. You can't drink or do drugs because that's a sin, just like sex. And you never, ever say, I'll be right back, because that's just asking for it every time. And, but he breaks, he breaks that rule by saying that out loud. And anyway, they're all confirmed in the movie. These things happen. This has one of the most iconic deaths or kills that I can possibly, that I always remember this is, that big titty blonde girl. She runs for she goes to get out the dog door out of the garage.
No, that's Rose McGowan.
Rose McGowan. That's right. Yeah. She's got a big old set on her.
She's got some machines on her.
Yeah, they're really
she's got some
boobs, boobies, tits, titties, tig old biddies, machines.
How's it going, Ben? So she crawls out the dog door that is located in the garage door, and the killer, hits the makes the door go up, and somehow this thing has like 1,000 horsepower. And as she gets stuck in the door as it goes up, and then it just like cracks her neck. And
just hangs her.
And hangs her and crushes her. And that was so shocking to me as a kid. I was like, fuck. Oh my God. garage door is going to fuck me up.
That was probably the most slasher death in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That felt straight out of like Friday the 13th. Yeah.
Nev has sex with her boyfriend, and then he gets stabbed, proving the trope. So the trope is reversed.
Yeah, it's directly after it's mentioned not to have sex in horror movies.
Yeah,
she has sex. Yeah. Like while that's being discussed, so you're like, oh, well, now she has her armor off, right. And so you don't know. That's the thing that works with this movie.
But he does too. He has his armor off too. He had sex.
Yeah, but guys aren't.
She doesn't die. She doesn't die, and he does.
Does it apply to men though? In slashers usually.
Well, I think does in this one.
I think there's virgins and like virgin men in horror movies that die. I think it's more of a female trope. Like,
well, that's sexist.
At me on Twitter and let me know if I'm right or wrong.
This is problematic.
Yeah.
This is I don't like the way this is going with you.
No, I'm not. I don't agree with it. I'm just saying.
So as it turns out, the killers are Skeet and Matthew Lillard, and they're horror movie buffs, and they decided to go on a killing spree for the fun of it, but also because Nev Campbell's mom, as it turns out, had been sleeping with Skeet's dad.
Oh, is that what it was?
And
I didn't even catch that.
And then that caused Skeet's parents to get a divorce and ruin Skeet's life. So now he's going to ruin hers.
Yeah.
And he brings up her dad from the basement who has been disappeared for a year, somehow in Skeet's house in the basement for a year. Or not, maybe it wasn't a year. Maybe she had him for, I can't remember. We just talk about horror movies. We don't know anything about them.
So a couple things that I wanted to talk about. We might have skipped over some of this.
Sure.
So that scene with Rose McGowan going into the garage, like the most notable thing of that is she goes from inside the house, opens the garage door, and it's like instant nipples.
Oh, yeah, like, pokies, hardcore.
Very, very hardcore. 90s were probably the best time for nipping out.
Yeah,
like
God. Friends was...
It is the golden age of seeing nipples through sweaters.
My God. Yeah, Jennifer Aniston... I can't...
Boobs, boobies, tits, titties, tig old biddies, machines...
It's pretty thick.
So that was notable. Also notable about Rose McGowan, this movie she was a notable voice in the Me Too movement. I don't know if you remember that. Like, she was like probably one of the most vocal people in the Me Too movement, particularly about Harvey Weinstein.
Interestingly enough, this was produced.
This was produced by Harvey Weinstein. Weinstein. Like, so, like, it puts a different tone on this movie because there was definitely probably a casting moment. Oh my God. Oh. Wow. Just when I thought, like, I needed to take away the drops from you, you come in and you redeem yourself with these Drain Addict clips. That was probably one of the best drops that has ever been on Horror Movie Talk. Right then. Mark your calendars. All right. So the other one was about the sex scene. Aaron pointed this out to me. This is why we need female voices sometimes on this podcast, because she was watching this with me.
Okay.
Also,
is this the first time she'd seen it?
I think so.
Okay.
And she pointed out how the scene with Nev Campbell and Skeet Ulrich having sex is a great example of enthusiastic consent.
I don't know. I don't.
Talking about Me Too movement. Like, we're having a Me Too theme right now.
Okay.
Like, do you know what enthusiastic consent is in related to sex? All right. Well,
the concept of consent is a little...
Well, you're just a knuckle-dragging, misogynistic. Retard now.
Yeah.
R word. TikTok.
My R word is
ratty.
Ratty.
So, from the very beginning of the movie, Skeet Ulrich is definitely having some blue balls.
Oh.
Like, he is...
Yeah.
God, can you imagine the pain of, like, being almost there with Neve Campbell?
More than that, Drew Barrymore.
I would probably, like, waddle out the house, sit down in the car seat, and my nuts would just literally just explode.
Okay.
Like, I would have no more nuts.
Okay, wait. So, you've mentioned this before in Horror Movie Talk, that blue balls hurts you. And I've heard this said before as well.
Uh-huh.
It's not fun to be turned down when you're expecting sex, but it doesn't hurt me. It physically hurts you?
I think you gotta... See, I don't know how much experience you had from just being limited by conservative religion, like how close you got. But for me and Aaron, like, we didn't have sex before we were married. Wow. Very traditional.
Wow. Like a legitimate?
Legitimate.
Wow.
Yeah. Not even close. And what was funny is, like...
I'm concerned.
Whatever we...
I'm worried right now, and this is the past.
Whatever we did, we felt so guilty about that we didn't want to tell anyone. But it's got to be so tame for anyone else.
Just humping.
So, like, yeah, we dry humping,
Yeah.
clothes on. Like, never... Like, the closest a hand got to anything was, like, under shorts, over underwear, but not anywhere really close to anything.
Okay.
I'm just giving you the details.
So blue balls then.
So, yeah, very much like you'd go at it, quote unquote, for like 20, 30 minutes, making out.
Yeah.
Like, rubbing, grinding.
Stop making the motions.
You're just like...
Don't need the motions. I know how it works.
Play the...
It's pretty thick.
And by the end of that, you're like...
By the end, you're like...
Block drying.
Yes. Yes, exactly that. So I'd go out to the car and it would be like this literal dull ache. My dick is like at half chub for hours.
Wow.
Like, just because it's like, God damn. Well, not for hours. I mean, let's be honest. Once we get home, there's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet release.
So anyways, yeah, the blue balls is definitely a thing in my experience. Enthusiastic consent. Let's get back to that.
Yeah, what is that?
So, Skeet Ulrich at the beginning is like getting blue balls. Like, Neve Campbell has some rules. She's like, over the clothes. Very much like the Hansen experience with them. And by the end of the movie, she's like, yeah, let's make this a porno. And he's like, really? And she's like, yeah. So, like, that moment... Sorry for the snot. Just a second.
Hot.
There we go. Yeah. Leave that in.
Yeah, I will.
So, she gives consent, but then he goes the extra mile and asks her if she's sure. And then she tells him, yes, that is enthusiastic consent. There's no question about...
It doesn't have to do with the enthusiasm of the person, like, I'm so fucking horny right now. It's like the explicit consent.
Well, it's both. Like, it has to be like, you can get someone to consent and them not be that, and they're like, all right, whatever.
Hey, that's your problem, buddy.
Obviously, I couldn't. Like, you can, that's the thing with, like, some of these Me Too stories where a lot of them are like, they just wore me down, and it was like, God, I was never really into it.
It's a story of men.
Yeah,
that's history. That's how the human race came to be. He just fucking wore me down. I didn't want to have anything to do with him, but he wouldn't leave me alone.
Right. So the idea of enthusiastic consent is making extra sure that everyone's on board, and then there's no pressure, that it's actually a decision. And this is a great example of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good... Okay. Hey, enthusiastic consent, I'm all for it.
It's what Harvey Weinstein didn't do, ever.
Frankly, I'm a little tired of being raped all the time. I don't know that a girl could rape me. That's not...
Let's not go down this road.
Yeah, okay. Let's see here. I just want to mention, so towards the end, we find out that Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich are the killers. They, and then really this is the crowning achievement of this movie to me, is when they start harming each other.
Right.
Is so upsetting.
Right.
Like, it makes me wring my hands, and because they have to make it look believable. They have to have an out. Right. Which is the killer came
and
down.
Skeet Ulrich gets off really light.
Oh my God.
Like, he's just like, all right, stab me kind of to the side.
Easy now.
He gets stabbed once or twice. Matthew Lillard's
cut up,
getting skewered.
Yeah. And it's,
that is probably the best moment in the film for Matthew Lillard. He's like, you went too deep, man.
Yeah. He's like, I think I'm fucking dying.
I'm feeling weak, man.
Feeling woozy.
Yeah, that's what it was. That was genuinely a great movie. That moment, that and when he's when they're definitely going to lose and get caught by the cops, he's like, my parents are gonna be pissed.
My parents are gonna be so angry at me. Yeah. It's that ending is so visceral. The self-harm and the enthusiasm behind it is just wacky creepy to me.
Yeah. I mean, what this movie does really well is, and even though you know what the premise is and that this is how it's set up, it still does it. It still pulls it off, which is, number one, you don't really know who the killers are. It's up in the air of who it could be for most of the film. Yeah. You have a guess and you have doubts about certain stuff.
They throw some red herrings at you. They keep trying to allude that it's Jamie Kennedy.
Or her dad.
Yeah.
Or whoever. And then the other thing is the meta-ness of talking about horror movies and then instantly breaking the rules that you just talked about. You should never break in a horror movie. So Nev Campbell's talking with Ghostface Killa and she's like, I'm not gonna be one of those stupid bitches that runs up the stairs, and I know how this works. And within 2 minutes she's running up the stairs and running into a corner,
has to jump out the window. Yeah.
And then the rule to not have sex, pretty much instantly they have sex.
Yeah, there's a lot of symbolic, minor nods and symbolic stuff in it as well. Skeet, loves movies. His whole life is movies. Mm-hmm. And then finally he gets killed by the TV that's playing Halloween. Gets pushed onto his head. So
no, that was that Matthew Lillard?
Was that Lillard?
Yeah.
My apologies. Same thing. Same story then.
Same.
So he dies by the media that he loves, Halloween kills him. Halloween kills. So, let's wrap this up. Final recommendations. Who do you think would like this movie?
Any fan of slashers, this is a must-see.
Yeah.
And this is not only a great meta comedy about that subgenre, but it's also one of the best slashers.
Yeah. I completely agree.
I can't think of any of the classic slashers in terms of actual kills and dread and plot that can compete with Scream.
No, it's
because
not
just
only that,
on the surface, the premise of having a slasher is like, don't worry about it. We're gonna have people killed.
Yeah,
like the important thing.
Don't worry.
The important thing is people get murdered, and there's gonna be lots and lots of that.
Yeah, because people like to see.
I like to see the arms.
I like to see the arms.
Stabbing.
No, you're absolutely right. And
that and
boobs, boobies, tits, titties, tig old biddies, machines.
The one thing that I was really disappointed in terms of like the meta-ness that they didn't deliver on was like, haha, now's where they show the tits. And then Neve Campbell like takes off her shirt and bra, and then Skeet, that motherfucker, stands right in front of her.
It's
like Jesus Christ.
And then Bryce's like, oh, my balls. Yeah, I have written, this is literally one of the most suitable horror movies for broad audiences that I've ever seen. It's arguably Wes Craven's best movie. And you will have a wonderful, this is a nostalgia machine. Mm-hmm. This movie has so much nostalgia. It just harkens back to kind of a simpler time. So yeah, I think y'all should check it out. And with that, let's get into taglines. Here's taglines. Taglines is a bit where we come up with alternate taglines that are funny, stupid, embarrassing for us to read about the movie that we just watched. So
it's been a while since we've done this.
It's been a hot minute
because it's our laziest bit, and
it just fit for Scream though. Many just came to me.
And just recently, someone mentioned how much they enjoyed the taglines. Like, well, there's one, so might as well bring it back.
It's back, baby.
Taglines are back on the table.
Did you have a chance to write any of them?
I have 3 right now that I wrote in between the time we started and now.
Look at you coming in there. So I'll start. So my first tagline for Scream: the case of blue balls that inspired a killing spree.
Okay.
Very nice.
Scream: the scariest experience since Harvey Weinstein's hotel room.
Oh, oof. Yeah, I wrote at the end of my notes, like when I was watching the credits roll, I was like, oh, shit, this is Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Stein.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's problematic. Scream. You can tell it's a Wes Craven movie because it focuses on latchkey kids and is way too long.
Well, it's weird that they would use that as a tagline.
I know.
It doesn't really sell it very well.
It doesn't sell the movie very well.
Scream: the slasher that makes fun of slashers and ends up being the best slasher.
Scream: Harvey Weinstein produced to ensure that no one can enjoy this movie anymore.
This movie is canceled.
Yeah, canceled. That was your 3, correct?
I've got one more.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Ugh, did you hear my gurgling?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Scream: it's a scream of a good time.
Okay. Oh. Scream: because movie critics are probably closeted serial killers.
I don't get it.
We're movie critics.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's a question for you, Bryce. Who is more problematic, Harvey Weinstein or Roman Polanski? You got Harvey Weinstein,
okay, so
who raped a bunch of women, and then you got Roman Polanski, who raped a bunch of kids.
One kid at least.
At least that we know of.
Here's the thing. The answer is Harvey Weinstein.
Okay.
Because somehow in this whole Me Too movement, like,
this is where I'm going.
Roman Polanski and Woody Allen kind of
ducked it.
Got like, yeah, they totally ducked it. And even for their whole lives, they've been like the pre-Me Too, Me Tooers, Me Too-ees.
People like smile when saying their names because it's like, oh yeah, he's the...
Yeah. And they're definitely like the example of, well, Roman Polanski is just known. Like, he definitely had statutory rape going on.
Yeah,
like, that's no question. Woody Allen, it's like kind of a byword, and like it's messy because his ex-wife that really, really hated him, like,
really attacked him.
It seemed like it originated from her, but then more stuff comes out, and like it's like this pile of evidence, but it's still like a very small group of people. It's not like a Bill Cosby thing. It's like, but then it's super suspect that he married his adopted daughter. But he's like, it's on the up. So, okay. Yeah. Another person that completely flies over and no one ever talks about. And I feel a little bad about it because I like him. But Jerry Seinfeld.
What are you talking about?
Like his wife, he like dated her when she was like 16.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's just keeping a punch card, just like, okay, sweetie, when do you turn 18? It's so weird that there's a day when it's okay.
Yeah.
That's...
You got to have it, though.
You do. There's
you have to have it because
you got it.
Even with that date, there's still guys are like, yeah, but 12 is pretty close.
Jesus. Wow.
Like, there are those guys. Oh man, we started watching the.
So before you do that, here's a theory. Did Harvey Weinstein do COVID-19? No one said a goddamn word about Harvey since COVID hit.
Did he do it?
Me Too isn't a thing anymore. Did he do COVID-19? Did he to take the heat off himself?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, that wasn't a very good yes and.
Yeah. So anyway, you were watching
I'm not a
something.
trained improviser. I'll talk about it in the afterpod because I can't remember his name right now.
Okay.
The other big name in U2, the
Me Too.
U2. U2, Me Too. We all U2 for YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, kill count?
Kill count.
Let's do kill count. We had...
You come out with stink like that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's a good... So, kill count is a game where I pose two movies against each other, and Bryce has to determine which movie has the higher kill count. The way I did it, we're just going off of human deaths in these movies, and the theme of this week's kill count is these are within the same movie universe. So, for example, our first matchup is Prometheus versus Alien 3. Did you see both of those?
I did.
This is my favorite franchise.
Alien 3 was like based in like a mining colony kind of thing.
A mining planet.
I think there was
a prison planet.
Plenty of fodder.
Yeah.
For that. And Prometheus was like a relatively small band.
Yeah, it was a spaceship of people that went to explore
But I honestly don't remember that many kills in Alien 3. Was Alien 3 the one where the alien gets sucked through the porthole?
No, that's Resurrection.
That's Resurrection?
That's the fourth one.
Okay. Alien 3 was directed by David Fincher. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, he must have had his arms bound or something.
That was like one of his very first movies was Alien 3.
That had one of the most iconic covers. I'd walk by in the movie rental store. It had that alien in a ring biting its own tail.
Yeah.
Oof, great.
I'm going to say Alien 3 because I feel like there's more available bodies.
You are correct. Yeah, good job. Good thinking. Yeah, Alien 3 had 30 kills, whereas Prometheus only had 15. Yeah, you really broke that down absolutely correctly. So good job. So our next pairing is going to be Evil Dead from 1981, the original, and then versus Evil Dead 2, which we just reviewed a few weeks ago.
Gosh, this must be close.
It's pretty close.
It's
pretty close. Oops, I meant to go.
It's pretty thick.
It's pretty thick.
So I think Evil Dead just had 5 characters in the whole movie, right?
Okay.
So
was it 5 or was it 6? I can't recall.
I'm gonna say, how many people just died in Evil Dead 2? Because there's not that many characters in Evil Dead 2
Yeah, you have
either.
a bit of an advantage here because we just came off of Evil Dead 2. We just watched it.
I'm gonna say Evil Dead 2 has more deaths.
Good job. Look at you. Evil Dead from 1981 has 4 kills, and Evil Dead 2 has 6. Okay, now this is one for you, buddy. This is for you. We have Ghoulies,
which I've never seen, but haunts my dreams still.
Why is that?
Because the cover, actually, it's Ghoulies 2 is the one where the Ghoulies inside the toilet.
Yeah,
and he's poking his head.
Yeah,
through he's blocking the drain.
It's ready. Morning ready.
And I was young enough to where it legitimately made me scared of flushing the toilet because I thought the sound of the toilet flushing was the ghoulie that was going to eat my ass. Which, I mean, you have to pay real money for nowadays. Anyway.
Block drying.
So versus Ghoulies 2.
Ghoulies versus Ghoulies 2. I'm going to say Ghoulies 2 because they got to ramp it up in the sequel.
You're absolutely correct. On fire. Bryce over here. Ghoulies 1 had 1 death, and Ghoulies 2 had 7.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, now here's another one for you. I think you've seen both of these movies. So we got Hostel versus Hostel 2.
I have not seen Hostel 2.
You haven't?
I'm going to use the same logic and just say Hostel 2, the sequel has to have more deaths.
Fucking idiot. So stupid. You're wrong. Hostel has 12 deaths versus Hostel 2, which only has 9. So 25% less deaths in Hostel 2. What are they doing?
We really got to watch Hostel.
Which would you rather make me watch? Human Centipede or Hostel?
Yes.
Neither, but we got to do one first. Which is going to be the one you're more excited about?
More excited, Human Centipede.
Okay,
because it has a special place in my heart.
Ugh. Oh, gross.
It's pretty thick.
Okay, and finally,
also talking about eating ass. Human Centipede.
This is foregone conclusion. You've already got three correct. You've basically won the game with a 60%. But
we'll do one more.
We'll do one more. So we got Scream, which is a little movie you might have seen, versus its sequel, Scream 2. Did you see all the Screams?
I don't know if I've seen... I know I've seen Scream and Scream 4. I might have seen Scream 2, but I know I probably haven't seen Scream 3. I'm going to say the same thing. Just play it safe and say the sequel has more.
The sequel has... Let's see here. Oh, I lost it. Where is it? You are correct. Scream has 7 kills, and Scream 2 has 10. I didn't realize Scream 4 came out in 2011.
Yeah, it was recent. I watched that with Aaron.
I'll be darned. Was it pretty good? It has Neve Campbell in it, too. She doesn't age.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It had all of them, I think. It definitely had Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and...
David Arquette's
Dewey.
in there.
Yeah, we didn't talk about David Arquette. This is probably one of the best roles that he's ever done.
By far.
He was great in this movie.
Very
like
lovable.
Perfect tone. Like he's like that energy that's like a compromise between Matthew Lillard and, you know, a regular person.
Yeah, Scream 4 has Hayden Panettiere on there. Oh man, she is drop dead gorgeous. Very pretty. Yeah, so good job. You won Kill Count. If you guys had if anybody played along, let us know how you did. We really care a whole lot. No, but seriously, if you guys want to reach out to us on social media,
you can say like, "Hey, I won." We'll go, "Good job,
good job," and then we'll scream at you with, you know, kookaburras. I'm sorry if that's grating to anyone. It's never going to stop ever. So, like I said, do reach out to us on social media. We try to talk to everyone. If you'd like to support the show, please hit us up on Patreon. You got access to a whole nother podcast over there, so check it out.
And a couple other perks that you might be interested in. You get access to the production calendar. You can see what we're going to watch coming up, so you can watch it before the episode. And we take requests from a tier, and we vote on, as a group of patrons, one movie a month that we can listen to. And it's all available to everyone, but to vote, you gotta cough up them ducats.
Gotta cough up them ducats.
So thanks again to...
Oh, yeah.
I dropped my
list.
Thing. Where is it? Special thanks to Angelica, Elena, and Kyle for becoming patrons. We
sure
love you.
Appreciate it, you guys.
Please, as always, we ask you to share the podcast with a friend. If you have anyone that likes horror, or even just you've seen a horror movie with and they went begrudgingly, tell them about Horror Movie Talk and tell them to listen. If you have an Apple product, please leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts. If you know someone that has an Apple product, while they're not looking, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You got to go to the podcast and scroll all the way down to the bottom. They don't make it super easy, but we really need those ratings. Again, check out horrormovietalk.com. Click through the button in the header for Amazon if you're going to buy anything off Amazon. And that's it for today.
Hey, we love you guys. I'm going to play you out with a little scene that's near and dear to my heart from Scary Movie, the movie that went even more meta than Scream. You guys have a great week. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
What's up? What's up? Who's that? Yo, pick up the phone. What's up? What's up? Yo, Duque, pick up the phone.
Yo.
What's up? What you doing, son? Nothing. Just chilling. Killing. True.